one, and it's going to be, in many ways, a defining moment in India and the United States partnership. Remember, this is the first time that an Indian Prime Minister is getting to address joint session of the US Congress there, second time. And this is the first time that this kind of absolute rollout of red carpet is happening, with the ceremonials lined up, private dinners planned up, meetings, think tanks, business events where Prime Minister would be engaging, I'm told, in about 40 odd meetings over just 2.5, 3 days. That gives you an idea of the kind of engagement that is planned when Prime Minister is on his state visit to the United States beginning of June 20. He in fact lands in the afternoon, June 20, and gets going immediately with some business events in New York. That's about half a day of engagements before he wraps up the day. And remember, he travels all this long flight and then immediately gets going with business events, business meetings. Some CEOs, some other top dignitaries from New York, some governors of the United States coming up, meeting him. And then next day is the big ticket event at the United Nations, where Prime Minister would be leading the International Yoga Day celebrations, which is essentially an initiative of him. At his initiative, the United Nations decided to mark the day every year on June 21, and he's going to be present himself there. This is the 8th edition, and along with him would be, of course, the UNSG, the Secretary General Antonio Guterres, and then a lineup of top diplomats, leaders from around the world participating with him. We're going to see that as a big event where Prime Minister would be performing yoga, and mind you, all those diplomats have trained really for a while to be equally participating, and there would be, the key coordinating agency for this is India's permanent mission in the United Nations at New York, and you're going to see that big lineup with celebrities also joining in. And remember, the International Day of Yoga is something which really pans out around the world, but the entire focus is going to be at the UN headquarters this time, because the kind of lineup of the dignitaries we are going to see, led by Prime Minister Modi. Immediately after that, he winds up his New York leg of the visit and then goes to the capital of United States, which is Washington, D.C. A hop there, and then in the evening he has a private dinner with the President and the First Lady, Joe Biden and Jill Biden, and then that's how the day wraps up, the June 21st. And then next day is the day of ceremonials, of the whole paraphernalia really rolling out at the White House lawns, where Prime Minister is going to be given a grand welcome, complete with gun salutes and whatnot. And the US has really been building up to it, and with the kind of statements that have been coming in, the kind of comments that have been coming in, I think we are looking at some real optics playing out. And the ceremonial would be followed by delegation-level talks between the two leaders, summit-level talks, as they're called, part of the state visit, following which a possibility of a joint statement, press statement. Typically, it happens. And then he, after a quick in-between lunch, he heads to the US Congress. And that's going to be a big one again, both for optics and for substantive dialogue that Prime Minister is going to have with the DC establishment and the top levels of politicians of the United States. So the Speaker of the US Congress, the leader of the majority and minority, similarly for the Congress and the Senate. And then the most awaited event, Prime Minister's address to the joint session of the US Congress, happening only for the first time for an Indian Prime Minister. Apart from that, only 4 other leaders have had that privilege. 2 of them Israeli Prime Ministers in recent memory. 2 others were long back, Winston Churchill and Nelson Mandela. So that really gives you an idea of the kind of importance that's being attached to Prime Minister Modi's visit in Washington, D.C. And of course, Shivangi, there is a lot more, but then we would rather let those events roll out and bring every detail of it to our viewers. It's going to be a packed lineup. We are going to have guests. We are going to have lives from the ground and whatnot to make sure that viewers of Republic Media Network get all details, to the minutest detail, in fact, of Prime Minister Modi's state visit to the United States.
Absolutely, Abhishek. It's going to be a very crucial and a big event where Modi's state visit to the US at the invitation of Biden and First Lady Jill Biden will commence in New York. PM Modi will lead the celebrations marking International Day of Yoga at the UN headquarters as well. So we can expect also yoga, because Abhishek, we know that yoga is something that PM Modi has emphasized on for many years now. Healthy living is something that PM Modi has been speaking about for so many years. So that'll be something for every Indian citizen to look forward to. Taking a very short break, much more coming up on the other side of this very short break as we continue to be